Okay, fourth grade friends, we are on to lesson 2 of module 7. Remember, I'll be using the homework sheet. You'll be using the practice pages, but the concepts are all going to be the same. I'm actually going to start at the bottom of this page where this conversion chart is, because remember, in this part of the module, we're working on making conversion tables for you, and then we're going to use that information to be math detectives and answer some math riddles. So here I have gallons and quarts, quarts and pints. Actually, gallons, quarts, pints, and chocolate, the way I remember it is good queens prefer chocolate. So in every gallon, the good, the G, there's 1 gallon, there are 4 quarts, the queen. And in 4 quarts, there are 8 pints. And in 8 pints, there are 16 cups. So there's actually 16 cups in each gallon. Just something I thought I would share with you. And some of this we'll go over when we're doing our live instruction on the practice pages. But for right now, the gallons to quarts, the conversion is going to be times 4. For every gallon, there are 4 quarts. And in the quarts, it's going to be times 2, because in every quart, there are 2 pints. So with 2 gallons times 4, there are 8 quarts. And with 4 gallons times 4, there are 16 quarts. 12 times 4, 48 quarts, and 15 times 4 gives us 60 quarts. Now on the other side, on the quarts times 2, that means in every pint, every quart, there are 2 pints, because 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, so there's 4 pints in 2 quarts. 6 times 2 would be 12 pints. 10 quarts would be 10 times 2, which would give me 20 pints. And 16 times 2, which would give me 32 pints in quarts. So now that I have that conversion table, I want to go ahead and I want to look at some of these math riddles at the top. So let's look at this first one. Dawn needs to pour 3 gallons of water into her fish tank. She only has a 1-cup measuring cup. How many cups should she put in the tank? Well, that's where this information is really going to help me, because there are 16 cups in 1 gallon, and I have 3 gallons. So I'm going to have 16 cups for 1 gallon, plus 16 cups for another gallon, plus 16 cups for another gallon. That gives me 1, 2, 3 gallons. And that's going to be equal to 3 times 16, which is equal to 48 cups. So she's going to need to put 48 cups in that 3-gallon tank. Look at number 3 here. Sean drank 2 liters of water. Now I'm going to have to go all the way back to what I learned in the whole second module of 4th grade that talked about liters and the conversion of liters. So I know that in liters, in 1 liter, there is 1,000 milliliters. So if Sean drank 2 liters of water today, which was 280 milliliters more than he drank yesterday, how much water did he drink yesterday? So what it's asking me is, if he drank 2 liters today, that's 2,000 milliliters, because 2 liters is equal to 2,000 milliliters. And that's 280 more, so that means I'm going to subtract 280 from the 2,000 milliliters he drank today to find out what he drank yesterday. Now I'm just going to do a straight subtraction problem. Now I'm going to have to borrow, because I can't take 8 away from 0, so I'm going to borrow from the 1 and give that one to the next door. But I've got to borrow from him, make him 9, and go all the way over to the tens. So now I have 10 minus 8, that's 2. 9 minus 2, 7, and 1 minus nothing is 1. So my answer is 1,720 milliliters. But I have to be able to do that by being a detective and knowing what the conversion is. If I don't know that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliter, it makes answering those problems a whole lot more challenging. Now looking on the back, I've got some word problems, but I've also got some other math riddles up here. 6 gallons plus 3 quarts is how many quarts? So I remember from the other side that in every gallon there are 4 quarts. So I'm going to have to say 6 times 4 to equal 24 quarts. So now I've got that 24 quarts plus 3 more quarts for these quarts. It's going to give me how many quarts I need, and the answer would be I need 27 quarts. Over here, 12 gallons and 2 quarts, but I'm converting it into quarts. So I know the rule is going to be 12 times 4 is going to give me 48 quarts. Then it says plus 2 more quarts. That's going to give me 50. And of course, that's the answer, 50 quarts. But what if I'm converting into pints? So I have 17 gallons and 2 quarts. So the first thing I need to do is figure out how many quarts I need. So 17 times 4 is going to give me 68. 68, 69, 70. So I've got 70 quarts. And I know that in the quarts, the rule for quarts to pints is going to be times 2. So 70 times 2 is going to give me 140 pints because I converted my gallons to quarts and then converted all my quarts to pints by following the conversion table. Now over here, I've got 27 gallons and 3 quarts, and they want me to change that all the way into cups. Well, again, I'm going to go into quarts first. So I have 27 gallons, and I know that I'm going to multiply those times 4. And 27 times 4, that's going to give me 108. Now I've got 108 plus 3 more quarts is 111 quarts. And in quarts, there are 4 cups in every quart. So now I can do my conversion chart from quarts to cups, and I can multiply that answer by 4. So now I've got 111 times 4, and the answer is 444. Now, number 6 says, explain how you solved problem 5F. The way I solved it is I converted my gallons to quarts and then converted my quarts, the total of my quarts, to cups. And that's how I got my answer, and I would write that here. The rest of this, you're going to continue to be math detectives. You're going to be looking at, is it a true problem? Is it a false problem? And if it's a false, you're going to go ahead and fix it. Joey needs to buy 3 quarts of chocolate milk. The store only sells it in pint containers. So how many pints of chocolate milk should he buy? Well, I have quarts. And if I'm looking at quarts to pints, the conversion of quarts to pints is times 2. And if I know that I need 3 quarts, 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. So 3 quarts times 2 is going to be equal to 6 pints, and he's going to need 6 pints. Kind of a fun way to look at being a math detective and following the conversion charts to figure out what the math riddles are. All right, my friends, off you go. Let us know how it goes.